Yo, I'm Yovan Buha, Lakers beat writer for The Athletic. And today we have a coaching search update. As Shams Charania and I reported this morning at The Athletic, JJ Redick, James Borrego, and Sam Cassell have emerged as the three leading head coaching targets for the Lakers as they begin their head coaching search this week. The Lakers are starting to reach out to candidates and schedule official interviews. This initial wave of interviews will be focused on getting to know the candidates that they're not as familiar with, which includes Redick, Borrego, and Cassell. As we also reported, Golden State assistant coach Kenny Atkinson, Denver Nuggets assistant coach David Adelman, Minnesota Timberwolves assistant coach Micah Nori, and Miami Heat assistant coach Chris Quinn will also be among the candidates, though the other three are the current frontrunners among the group. Though that could change depending on how the initial interviews go and the intel gathering process for the Lakers. As for what the Lakers are looking for from their next head coach, they are viewing this hire from both a short and long-term perspective. So in the short term, this is leading the final chapter of the LeBron AD partnership, be it another year, another 2 years, another 3 years, however long LeBron chooses to play. As we've reported at The Athletic, we've been told that it will likely be up to 2 more years. So most likely looking at a 1 to 2 year window here with LeBron and AD. So how can you maximize the competitive window with those two? Can you help them win a championship? Can you help this team be a contender over the next year or two? And then longer term, how can you build a culture and a program around Anthony Davis? And how can you maximize him? And then if the Lakers go out and acquire a second star down the road once LeBron retires, like how can you make that work and continue to grow and develop some of the younger players and the players that the Lakers will be adding in the years to come? So they're looking at this as they want not just a coach for the next couple of years, not another coach to cycle through. They want a coach that could be their version of an Eric Spoelstra, their version of a Steve Kerr, someone who's going to be a bedrock for the franchise for the next 5, 7, 10, 12 years. As one source close to the situation told us, this is more of an AD hire than a LeBron hire. So I know there's going to be a lot of attention on LeBron and what LeBron wants, and that is certainly a factor here. He has a June 29th player option, which will be after the Lakers both make this hire and go through the June 26th draft. So both of those decisions will have an impact on LeBron and how he views this Lakers situation and how he views his next contract. But Anthony Davis is the guy who is under contract for multiple years. Anthony Davis is the next face of the Lakers franchise once LeBron leaves or retires. He is the face of the next era of Lakers basketball. So the Lakers are taking into account what AD wants and the type of coach that they feel could best maximize him in the post-LeBron era. Additionally, the Lakers are looking for a coach who can command the locker room and hold players accountable. They're looking for a coach who will tirelessly game plan and prepare, and they're looking for a coach who will provide structure and organization for the organization. They also want someone with experience, and all of these coaching candidates check that box except for JJ Redick. Now, one interesting wrinkle with this whole process is that legendary Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski, aka Coach K, is consulting the Lakers on this process and is advising them with evaluating the candidates and on potential assistant coaching staffs, as well as how to build a successful culture from a coaching standpoint. He, of course, has ties to JJ Redick, who played under him at Duke. He also has ties to Kobe Bryant, as he coached him with Team USA, and the two formed a strong bond. And then on top of that, he was almost the Lakers coach in 2004 after they moved on from Phil Jackson, offering Coach K a lucrative multi-year deal that he ultimately turned down to stay at Duke. But he is now advising the Lakers during this process. I think that is an advantage for JJ Redick, just given the familiarity there and given their relationship and bond. But Coach K is one of the greatest and most respected and decorated coaches of all time, and his voice carries weight, and it's clearly going to carry weight for the Lakers during this process. As for a little bit about the three leading candidates I've already talked about JJ Redick multiple times on this channel, on my podcast. I said last week in my mailbag that if I had to pick the candidate most likely to get the head coaching position, I would pick Redick. I stand by that. I still think he is the slight favorite among the candidate pool, though again, that could always change during the interview process. Maybe someone really impresses the Lakers and takes that designation from him. But right now, I believe Redick is slightly ahead of the field. And if I was asked the question again today, who the most likely hire is, I would pick Redick again. Though Redick has no coaching experience at the NBA level, he did play 15 years in the NBA. He has transitioned into becoming a successful media personality as an analyst, a commentator, and a podcaster. We've seen several coaches make that jump, most notably Doc Rivers and Steve Kerr. And he has a notable podcast with LeBron James, the Mind the Game podcast, which has been going on now for a couple of months and clearly shows that LeBron and JJ have similar basketball sensibilities. Borrego has been an assistant coach for 15 years and a head coach for 4+ years. Although his career record is under 500, he coached some pretty bad teams in Orlando and Charlotte. He does have playoff and championship experience in San Antonio and New Orleans. He was part of the Spurs championships in 2005 and 2007. And he trends more toward the offensive end. He is known more as like an offensive coordinator. That's what he was in New Orleans this past season. He helped them go from 20th in offensive rating to 11th in offensive rating. Cassell has as much experience as anyone on this list. He was a player for 15 years, winning 3 championships, 2 with the Rockets and 1 with the Celtics, and then has been an assistant coach for 15 years, including coaching under Flip Saunders, Randy Whitman, Doc Rivers, and most recently, Joe Mazzulla. He joined the Celtics staff last offseason, but he's coached 9 of his 15 seasons under Doc Rivers. He also played for Doc Rivers in Boston, and he is well respected by players across the league. He is known as a player development coach. He helped John Wall and Bradley Beal early in their tenure in Washington. He helped develop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in his rookie season with the Clippers. I had a firsthand look at that, of those two working hard after practice on mid-range pull-ups and just the art of the middle of the floor and how to maximize that. So that's a little bit about each of the 3 candidates. We will have more in the coming days and weeks. A lot to unpack here, a lot to report on, but just wanted to give you guys a quick and direct update from our reporting this morning. Let me know in the comment section below which one of these 3 candidates, Redick, Borrego, and Cassell, you would prefer to be the Lakers head coach if you had to choose among those 3. But that'll do it for today's update. Thank you so much for watching and listening. For those on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification button, and drop a comment and a like if you enjoyed this video. For those listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and your podcast platform of choice, be sure to follow, download, and leave a 5-star review. I'll be back later in the week with episode 23 of Buha's Block. I'll talk to you then.